This is going to be broadcast live, like Facebook Live. So y'all behave yourselves. um, I'm Alderman Bev Berger. I'm the alderman for Ward 1, and I live right down the street here at McKay's Mill. And I've been an alderman for quite a while. And in fact, I was elected in 2005 of October, and came to find out towards the end of 2006, after I got my feet wet, that McEwen Drive was way up on the list. It was number 47 on our capital investment projects list. And I thought, that can't be. And development was allowed to happen in those years before roads were slated to be built and improved. And so I started working on it, and about 2007 I got serious and said, we've got to do something. And it took a long time, but things do move slow sometimes when you have a lot of projects to do in the city. And I just want to thank the board and the mayors who worked with me, Tom Miller, John Shore, and Ken Moore, and the aldermen, because we were able to move it up from 47 and then to 32, to 27, 21, 14, 7, and finally 1. I remember those numbers, because every time it got moved up, I'm just thrilled. So I just want to introduce to you tonight, first of all, if you did not sign in, please do sign in, because we will email you afterwards as well. We're going to have a dedicated website, link on our website at the city. FranklinTN.gov is our website, FranklinTN.gov. You'll see it there. Jonathan's going to show you how to access our dedicated link. It's going to be up there for the next few years while we do the project.
It's expected.
The other thing,
Certainly.
I think, Mr. Mayor, would you come up front? I would like to introduce you.
Sure.
And Dr. Ken Moore, thank you, has been very instrumental in helping us push this project forward. And Eric Stuckey, our city administrator, will be up here in a moment. And we were able to find a lot of grants for this road, and I'll tell you about that in just a minute, but I want Dr. Moore, Mayor Dr. Moore, to say a few words. Nice.
Well, thank you, Bev, and so welcome tonight. What a great turnout, because probably tomorrow you're going to be homebound for a few days. I applaud Alderman Berger's persistence on this project, and she's certainly driven it a lot. And I also applaud our staff, who's worked very, very hard to move this project forward. And the fact that we've gotten a significant amount of money that doesn't come out of your pocket to go to this particular project. I'd love to give our staff an applause, and also Alderman Berger for great work on this. And what a great opportunity tonight to showcase our community college, Columbia State. And this room is open so many times to the public for so many events, and they're doing such great work to help train our students and produce some great kids, and we appreciate that great work. So we got Alderman Potts back there, so thanks for coming tonight, and I think you'll find the professional presentation you'll be able to be very informative. So thank you.
Mary Beth Callie with down back here with the college. Thank you, Mary Beth, for the opportunity to utilize this beautiful room. And Alderman Jason Potts, would you raise your hand? He's in the back against the wall. He is Ward 3, my counterpart, south to me. Thank you for being here. I don't know if I've seen any other aldermen tonight. I know we had pretty well tied up. Assistant City Administrator Vernon Gertz, back here against the wall next to Jason. And I'm going to introduce Eric here in just a second. But I just want to give a special thanks to Paul Holzen and Jonathan Marston, who they're going to be so glad that this project starts, because they heard from me all the time. And they always took my calls. And they always assured me they were working on it day and night, and they constantly were working on this project. with the state, but we were able to get, Eric, is it 33 million right now?
Just over 30.
Just over $30 million in grants for a $47 million project. That saves our tax dollars that can go to other projects in our city. And I'm so grateful for that. And right now, I'm just going to go ahead and introduce Eric Stuckey to you. He's our city administrator. And Eric, if you want to introduce the team, and we'll go on from there. Thank you.
Great. All right, good evening. Thanks so much, everybody, for coming out. Alderman Berger referenced it. This contract was awarded in December by the board. It's just over $46 million, $30 million of which has come from federal grants. And we're not done yet. We're still working on the opportunity to get some additional dollars in there. Jonathan has done a ton of work to make that happen. We started with $10 million, which was pretty good. And we've been able to grow that over time. And we're still going to work on getting some additional dollars, again, help stretch our dollars further. It's an important project. It's an important east-west connection across our community, but ultimately across the county. It really does serve us well. And we want to upgrade it to have the capacity, have the function that it needs to serve our community well into the future. Let me introduce folks that are going to be part of it. And I'll have Jonathan and David come up. Jonathan Marston is our Assistant Director for Engineering, and David Hodnett is our project manager. So they'll be talking through the specifics of the project. We're not going to give you a presentation. We're going to show you what's on the website. That's stuff you can access, and we'll continue to update that throughout the project so that you can see information about it. We can provide updates there as well. It can be just sort of a central information source for you. And obviously, you can always contact our team to help you with this. Also have John Carmen with us, also from our engineering team, works with the inspection of the project and making sure it's getting implemented properly, and is also a great resource in working with residents as well. So Jonathan, David, who wants to come up and get us started and talk through the project, and then we'll field questions and handle anything else that would be helpful to the group. And again, thank you for giving us your time this evening. David and John.
I want to say one more thing. By the way, we're going to get through this, McEwen, that's why we're here. But if anyone would stay around afterwards, and there are any other issues, or suggestions, or concerns, or anything about the city, or any other issues or projects, I'm happy to spend a little time fielding some questions as well. Thank you.
Thank you all for coming out tonight. I've seen a lot of familiar faces because Jonathan and I come back in the spring for the HOA, Master HOA Association. We came out that really proud and we answered a lot of questions that night about the project. But I'm David Hodnett. I'll be here on the project for the next 3 years. Y'all will see me driving with my gray hair and my purple Trailblazer down here. We call Barney affectionately. But, this is going to be a long project, a lot of details. There will be some inconvenience. That's just a natural byproduct because this is the largest roadway project that Franklin has tackled. That I believe that's correct history. So you can see it goes all the way from the circle down at McEwen all the way down to the Wilson Pike. And right now, if you drive the project and look at where the high lines are on the north side of the roadway, that's about where the center line will be for the new road. We're moving it up the hill because we have to maintain traffic through the old roadway. And so that's one reason. This is a lot of earthwork, probably a lot of rock and different things. So I just ask you to bear with us. I started out in this business, I was dark-headed and good looking. And now you see what I am. 41 years. And I keep telling Paul, our city engineer, this is my last project because I've been with the city 8 years. I retired from Louisiana Department of Transportation, came up here, and I just turned 64 Thanksgiving, so I'm ready to do my things. So, if it gets too bad, I'm going to leave before that. But I'll be here for the duration. I may change my mind for it, so. But, you know, my number is on the website, my email, got a lot of emails from different people asking about it. A lot of people with the realtors, they ask all the time what's going to happen between McEwen 4 and McEwen 5, because people are buying houses, want to know what's going on. So been a lot of interest in this job. So there's my contact information.
She's playing with 5 real 5.
McEwen 5 starts at Wilson Pike and goes out toward Clovercroft, and it involves the city of Brentwood, city of Franklin, a joint venture, and then I don't know what the county's going to do. So we're going to go out for a certain, that's our parcel that we have between us and Franklin, and that'll be coming up next.
Yeah, we have an agreement with on that piece, and the intent is to really have 4 go right into 5 as we complete 4 to go ahead and move forward. Brentwood's paying about 59% of that project. We're paying about 41%. We sort of worked it out in terms of what the relative share is of the roadway and how it serves the respective communities, and then it's up to other folks to take it further east. But that's the plan, to have it as work together. We've actually already been meeting with Brentwood about how, when we get to that stage, how we look to have that work and continue on to get the whole roadway moving forward. So it is a broader plan to provide that east-west connector across both Franklin, Brentwood, and beyond is ultimately.
And just to add a little piece in there for beyond, that actually is the long-range plan we've worked out with the municipalities and the counties to the east of us, all the way over to Smyrna. The city of Smyrna actually led, about a year and a half ago, a task group to set an alignment corridor for an east-west connector. We knew that, as all the subdivisions build out, we see a lot of development happening. We were losing our opportunity to set any future east-west corridors. In addition to already having Murfreesboro Road, you had Old River Boulevard to the north. We were losing the opportunity to really get any more east-west roadways. So we've actually set a general corridor of McEwen Drive, Clearcroft Road, and Rocky Springs Road, all the way over, especially between I-65 and I-24. We've got a general corridor agreed upon between I-65 and I-24 between all the jurisdictions that are involved. So, and of course, this is McEwen 5 and McEwen 4. Those are both what's in Franklin. So we're actually the furthest ahead of everybody, so which is great. So we were generally in agreement with everybody.
Does this section, is this included in the 3-year timeline?
No, it is not.
Okay.
It's a completely separate
It's a
project.
different project. Okay.
Did I hear you correctly that for phase 4, it's still going to be operational? You can still use that road. You're just going to be building on the north side of the power lines, and then when that opens, work to the south on that, or I mean, we don't lose the use of that road for 3 years. That's what I'm hearing you say.
Yes, we have to maintain traffic through. Yeah, we have to maintain traffic through the road,
Right.
and so the old road will remain in place. And there'll be traffic shifts as we go through. They'll shift, once they finish part of it, may shift you up in one lane, one way. So it's going to be a lot of traffic control, during that time. So some temporary traffic control. Yes, sir.
Based on that, Mike Franklin, the president of the Master HOA here at McKay's. So based on that statement you just made, right, people in the Players Mill subdivision will know how and when you're going to close Players Mill down? Daily, hourly, how will that work?
Players Mill is where we're going to build the box.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, Players Mill will most likely be closed for a while because we're building a box and we're raising that up about 20 feet. So it will be closed during that time, completely.
How will we know when you close it that first
Well-
time, it'll stay closed?
It'll stay closed until it's raised back up and connected to the roadway, and then we'll reopen the roadway. Yeah, we won't open and close it.
Okay.
How long is that?
We haven't determined that yet. We're gonna work with the contractor to see how long they think they can get that done, what time frame they can connect that through. Right now, the tentative time frame we've shown that in, and that's actually included in the question. Let me show that real quick.
Jonathan, speaking to Mike.
Well, I've kind of got to scroll too. David can explain it while I'm scrolling at the bottom.
Yes.
So just kind of talk to the website.
You want to give an overview of that thing as well? Timeline.
Yeah, just what's on the website.
The one I put on today is short.
During the last HOA meeting, you actually stated that was going to be roughly a 6 to 8 month closure, at which point all traffic would have to route back through McKay's Mill during that time, including school buses. Is that still accurate?
I think that'd be accurate. Depends on the contractor and how fast they build, because that box is a fairly good sized box that will become the old road. When we get finished with this project, will be a walking trail that goes all the way through. We're going to trim it down to 1 lane and probably overlay it so it'll be a walking trail, and that's why we're building a tunnel, a box right there at Players Mill, because the road has to come up at the new grade. So if you come out of Players Mill, when you first, you go down now to where the sign is, that will all be up and over to the new
It'll be a
roadway.
slightly upgrade or even flat, but it won't go down anymore. You'll go straight out to McEwen.
So is it still accurate that there is no intention to put a traffic light at Players Mill and McEwen?
Not at this time, but that's something we said we would study later, because I think,
I thought y'all actually indicated you had already performed this study.
now that doesn't, no.
So just to give you evidence, I mean, today to get out of the subdivision, it took 6.5 minutes.
Right,
As the
but
traffic sits.
with a divided 4-lane, you will have dedicated turn lanes into Players Mill from east and west. And plus you will have a median area that you can cross over, then wait, and then go one way, go back to the west. I think that will help for getting the traffic out, but, we'll have to look at that.
How does that compare to traffic at Ovation and McEwen, which has a street light at it today?
I
And
have no
traffic is
idea
still
on
so heavy, even more traffic is going through McEwen. Just trying to figure out why.
The lighted Ovation was added based on the full build-out of what Ovation was supposed to be when it was developed and sent through the city. So think of Ovation when it was originally a $750 million development, fully built out. That's what actually got the light put in. If it was Ovation sitting there like it is today, it does not warrant a light.
Will it look like an east and west frontage road, and then you're building McEwen up over it, so that we can still get?
That's what it will look like during construction, yes, ma'am.
I'm not sure the questions are doing online, so you might want to repeat those.
Okay. I updated the website today, and I'll be updating it very regularly since we're getting into this project. But we bid this job on November the 19th. We had 5 contractors that gave us bids. And we have awarded or fixing to award the contract to Vulcan Construction Materials that's located here. We have office in Franklin. And the low bid was $45,844,010.80. So big project.
And for those of you not familiar, Vulcan Construction is the contractor who actually, oh, it's definitely picking me up. But the Vulcan Materials is the contractor who actually just performed and completed successfully, did a very good job on it, the 96 widening, Murfreesboro Road, did a great job on it. We're actually happy to have them. We believe they'll do a very good job for us. Yes, sir.
2 questions. So, do we know what the grade is supposed to be coming up from Players Mill onto McEwen
Yes.
on the eve of possibly 4 or 5 inches of snow? And then second, the walking trail we worked with Brentwood on connecting that so we can get over to Smith Park.
There's no connection on Wilson Pike itself, so no, there's not a connection there. That's something we can work out in the future. That's something that's very doable and actually probably qualify for a grant in the future if that's something we want to work with Brentwood on.
Yeah, I want to talk about that.
What was the grade on going up to Players Mill?
I have to look it up, but yeah, that's something we have to design during that process. So yes, we do have that. It's actually on the website.
Okay.
And what we want to do when phase 5 gets done, we want a trail that goes all the way over to the school as well, so people can ride their bikes and get over there. I'm working with Lisa Clayton, our Director of Parks, and we want to work with Brentwood eventually to try to connect some more of that with Brentwood as well. So we're looking for grants, and we're looking for all that in the future as this gets done.
Which
Brentwood
school?
Greenway goes to Mead of Avalon already.
Pardon?
The Brentwood Greenway goes to Mead of Avalon already, so all you have to do is hit the bottom of
Yes.
hit the bottom of McEwen, go left into Mead of Avalon,
Right.
and it connects all the way.
Lisa's talking with them, and we're trying to work something out in the future for that. But we wanted to get this project started so we would know what we needed to do. And then on the right side of the road, the south side of the road, from the roundabout all the way to Wilson Pike, will be a 12-foot multimodal path, so people can walk, ride, jog. I'm sorry, what was the other question? School.
Say connecting to a school, which is.
Oh, Clovercroft Elementary, which is over there on Clovercroft.
Yes, ma'am.
Question, I was not understanding how much of the road will be closed for 8 months between the roundabout going to Players Mill? I have a house that's between the two.
Yeah, the old road will remain open.
Okay, so there'll be egress for people to come and go to that little house on East McKean.
Yeah, we will maintain
Yeah,
access.
the main roadway will have access the entire time. It's just side roads that we have to completely realign that'll be closed.
Okay, I was just not clear on that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Has the school, Clovercroft, I've talked to a few people there, they were unaware that this project was about to go. Has this been talked about with like the school buses? Because we have school buses that come from McKay's Mill, picks up and meet at Avalon. And if there's some closures there, is the school aware that, hey, the bus might be late or the kids are gonna be late? Has that been talked to the school district?
We'll bring it up with them when we get closer and know an actual date.
Right.
When's this gonna start?
Tentatively March is when I'm looking at starting the construction. Yeah, I've got that, around March 2025. We'll have a meeting with the contractor to work out, and they'll give us a schedule on what they're looking at to get it done within the 3 years. So we'll know more once we meet with the contractor and hash out, some details like that. A lot of utility work, we're putting in new gas line, new water main, sewer main, and overhead utilities. So a lot of utility work will be going on right at first. And I've got some help on the project, and I'll introduce you. Mr. Jay Wood with HDR is going to be helping with the construction, engineering, and inspection. He's got some inspectors that will be working with us out there too. Yes, ma'am.
Is there any consideration on changing the light pattern at Wilson Pike and McEwen? We have the same problem as others trying to get out of Players Mill coming out of the Mead of Avalon, because the traffic light on Wilson Pike does not ever stop the people from turning right on red, and there's a consistent flow of traffic coming from Wilson Pike. I just wondered if they were ever considering changing the pattern of the light just to allow somebody to, say no right turn on, red, or.
Probably won't do a no right turn on red there, but one of the things that two things. When we widen the roadway, we have to look at the signal timing because it'll adjust what we do for signal timing there. So yes, we will look at signal timing. And having the wider roadway, so having 2 lanes in both directions, increases your capacity, basically doubles your capacity in the roadway there. So it actually allows your traffic to move faster through the corridor. And I say faster, but it allows it to clear the corridor quicker. So you actually create more gaps on the corridor, which actually allows you more gaps to actually be able to get out into traffic. So you should see a significant increase and easier to get out into traffic.
So there's going to be a median, like you were saying, all the way up the road where you could cross over 2 lanes, wait,
Yes,
and then cross.
Basically, the median stops coming from the west. It basically stops at the top of the hill before you go down the hill to Mead of Avalon.
Do you have a rendering of that? Can you pull that up and show us?
See some
We
pictures?
have the construction plans. It's not, and I can pull them up and we'll show you that, but it's going to be kind of difficult to read. We don't have like an artistic rendering or anything like that.
Can I just clarify what you're saying about closure, non-closure? So coming out of Players Mill, what we know is McEwen right now is not gonna shut down at all because it's eventually gonna become trailway?
We eventually traffic will move over onto the new roadway. So phasing is going to work like this. We'll build parts of the roadway at a time as we move utilities. And we'll have to shift traffic from old road to new road and back and forth as we have to move around to construct the project. So you'll have little lane shifts occasionally through the project. There will be some sections of the roadway open at all times to get you through that corridor.
So coming out of Players Mill onto McEwen will not be closed at all, or will be
No,
closed
it will
every
be,
once in a
there will
while?
be a section, we're coming out of, that section of Players Mill to that very first neighborhood street, it will be closed for several months at least.
It will be.
Because we have to raise it for 15 to 20 feet. There's no way for us to build that without closing it completely.
We don't, it would be.
Yeah, I'm on the board of Mid Avalon.
The big concern for us is turning left. We can't turn left out of our neighborhood to go along Wilson, or to get to Wilson. And we got double lanes going that way. It's gonna be doubly hard to do that. It's gonna try to get across without getting killed.
Because the speed's gonna go up, and they're already flying through there both ways. And I mean, they're ripping off that bridge on right turn on red, and I mean, there are times if it's peak, you sit there forever. And sometimes you just close your eyes and try to get in the middle where you're not supposed to be and hope somebody lets you over if you're going left. But when that road is even wider, they're gonna fly through there even faster.
You won't see a huge increase in speed there because the road's already wide there. There's not a huge lot of widening going much wider
Well, they
there.
got double lanes to drive just doubly fast. It'd be just, it's gonna be hard.
One of the things I've asked us to look at is when you're coming down Wilson Pike, traveling south, that we put a no turn on red during construction at least.
Try that out.
And then in order to keep that in place, we'll have to look at that and see if we can get permission to do that. I'm not sure we can, but at least during construction, we might be able to have a sign that says no right turn on red, because I think you're gonna need that.
That's not gonna work. People don't even stop at all.
Yeah.
They just keep going right through there, even though it's a red light. I got on that.
We'll get you in a second.
There's gonna be a lot of construction equipment around here.
Yes, sir.
Where is that gonna be staged during the beginning part of this project?
We'll stage it, the right-of-way we purchase and the easements we purchase, it'll be staged along the sides of the roadway. And we'll also stage it at the very end of McEwen Drive across from Wilson Pike. The city actually owns a large chunk of property there across the street. So it looks like a driveway.
So it won't be in front of Mead of Avalon subdivision then? There won't be any construction?
I mean, there'll be some there because there's grass space there. Yeah, when we purchased the easements to use during construction. So yes, there will be some there during construction.
Not a lot. The main stuff.
And we'll get this gentleman right here and I'll come back to you.
I was just wondering if there's a presentation this evening, or is it just Q&A?
It's just really Q&A.
Got it.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah, what direction are you starting and ending at?
That's really up to the contractor. We don't really direct means or methods, so it's really their site to work on. We set the completion deadlines, and we work with them for their means and methods to get it done and the project.
Will you know by spring?
They will provide that to us. Yes, they'll provide us a schedule.
So on our website, franklintn.gov, we're going to have a dedicated link. It said McEwen Project. And you can go in there, we'll have updates. David will have updates, he'll be posting updates there. We will have information on there for you. There will be a way to get a hold of David by email and phone number if you find that there's an issue out there or something you need to get a hold of him about, or if you need information. A lot of that will have a Q&A on there as well, so please look at that first because your answer may be there. And then I have my cards are out there. You're welcome to call me. But also, I would ask that you go to the website first because your questions might be answered there. But we want to be able to communicate, and then well in advance to any closures or any type of stoppage of any kind of traffic. Of course, the road will be open at all times. You will be notified way in advance. It'll be on there. I will put it on next door. We will get it out on your HOAs as well. So I just want to assure you that we'll be working towards that.
We'll get back to questions in 1 second. Bear with me. I do want to walk you through where everything's at on the website real quick. And I apologize. My back's going to be turned here with you just the way the computer's set up. But I'm going to carry the microphone over so you can hear me. So I'm not just facing it. Well, let's keep it down here. That way I can actually run the computer.
Okay.
So when you go to our City of Franklin website, if you go to the top, if I can get up there, top of the web page and go to business and go to city projects, and there's multiple ways to get to this page, but really the quickest way is to go to city projects. And this is where we keep pages for all of our major city projects. There's two pieces here. So for the quickest update, if you just want a brief update what's going on lately, what's happening with the project, you'll click on the Capital Projects dashboard. and just zoom into the area of the city you're interested in a project. And we've got an icon, you can pull up a legend, tells you what you're looking for, transportation project. You can also filter it by just types of projects, so transportation. But this one right here is McEwen, and this is what we were showing a little bit earlier. So this is where David will update this as things change on the project. We want to give a status update to the project. David will put a brief project update here, right here. This explains what the project is. This will stay pretty much static, but this down here will be an updated of what's going on with the project. So that'll be where we see the more live updates that when something's changing out there, we'll put those up. Now, when we go back to the capital projects page, if you scroll down further, we see a little snippet for each major project. And here's McEwen Drive Phase 4, and at the bottom, for more information, go to McEwen Drive. It's got a link to it. And this is the individual project page we were showing earlier. And there's the location map, and there's a full-size version. And actually, when you go to this project page, we always link back to the project dashboard here, so you can go back and get those live updates when you want to. And we offer, again, pretty much the same description that's on both the dashboard and on the project's webpage, just to kind of keep those two in line with each other.
But the dashboard is the.
The dashboard is the live update. It's the most up to date. This is, the project description here is static. There's nothing really that's going to change here, and sorry.
So the dashboard is what you want for project updates. And I'm gonna see if we can get just a link where you don't have to go clicking through some of these. Maybe we can just get a link.
There actually was a link. At one point, it actually just said capital projects, and there was a McEwen link right underneath it. We'll get that put back. It'll be easier to find.
It'll be much easier to find if we get that link.
And as we have more information about the overall project timeline, like right now, just as updates will be provided on this webpage when they become available, we'll actually update that section so you'll know more information about what's happening. When there's major road closures, we'll still put those on this webpage as well. So you'll see, important notices, things like that. We'll keep this page updated so you have one place to go to find all this information. And one of the other additional things is project documents. So we'll try to keep anything that's pertinent to the project or really important that we want to get out to everybody. We'll keep those documents here on the webpage so you can download those and really have access to them whenever you want them. And one of the things I'll bring up is we had a bunch of questions emailed to us, and we put together some answers to all of those questions, and you can look at those at your leisure.
These are the ones Mead of Avalon sent me, and engineering has all the answers in red. And you can go into that website and find that. Also for the Mead, I will email these to you as well. I have a link. I have it on my computer today, and I will email it to you.
And we've also got, excuse me, the roadway plans, the actual construction plans are on there. It's such a large file, I had to break it up into 3 files. The only thing that's not included are the utility plans, and we typically don't include those because it's other utility providers. We don't like to include their plans when we're not the owner of the utilities.
Those plans are 380 pages, so have good internet when you open them.
Yeah, and again, if you're not an engineer, and I say even if you're an engineer, if you're not used to roadway plans, these can be very difficult to read and interpret. If you have any questions and you see something in there, please give us a call. We'll be glad to meet with you, come out to your house, meet with you. We'll be glad to talk with you over the phone, email back and forth, whatever we need to do to help you understand whatever you're wanting to understand. Yeah, I can show that.
Are you going to have a walking path and sidewalks?
Yes, sir. Yes. So the existing roadway, we're going to use that as a multi-use trail. Because it's an existing roadway, it actually doesn't technically meet, it doesn't technically meet the ADA standards. So we also had to provide a sidewalk along the roadway itself. So the multi-use path is actually off the roadway. There'll be sections where it's below the roadway, and McEwen Drive will be up above it. But the sidewalk itself will be on the south side of the roadway directly adjacent to it, just like a normal on-street sidewalk. So you'll have that, and that's fully ADA compliant. So you actually do have both.
Is
there ever gonna be an artistic rendering of what this does look like, or is going to look like, so that we can kind of all have an idea of
We would
talking about?
normally we don't create those for these style projects. That's something we can do. There's just some cost to it to create those. That's something we can do if that's something that's truly wanted.
Might get a schematic.
Yes, it's wanted, definitely wanted.
I have a question. That area is very curved, and I know by expanding the lane it's going to help, but are you doing anything to straighten it a little
It will
bit?
be completely
Here,
straight.
you're talking to my,
That,
you're talking to my phone, so I gotta get picked up.
yeah, the new design is, we're filling in, it'll be great, at grade, what we call it grade, it'll be nice and smooth. Hardly any curves, just a few curves, very mild, so it'll be very drastic difference from what's out there now.
Right now, it's an accident. Also, I assume this is going to require some blasting.
Let's talk about that.
It depends on what they find when they get out there. There is some rock, but most of the borings show that it's not solid. It's, what do they call it? Colluvium. It's loose, and it's not very good material. It's not the best material. We may have to do some once they go, deeper or whatever. We don't know yet till we get out there and really look at it. But
Would we be informed if blasting?
yeah, we follow the Tennessee Fire Marshal's office. They have protocols. You have to survey houses within 300 foot of the blasting, and there's a lot of rules that the contractor has to follow for that, so you will know about it.
And that's one thing that's very important. If we do blasting, and they do what's called pre-blast surveys for anybody within the zone of influence, it's very important. You don't have to, you don't have to be there when they do the pre-blast surveys, but when they contact you to do the pre-blast surveys, it's very important that you work with that pre-blast surveyor as much as you can, because they want to know as much information as they can, see as much information about your property. It's critical that you work with them and show them everything you can about their property so they can understand what's going on there. Because we have a lot of property that are like, I don't want them on my property. And then at the end of the project, they say, well, this is wrong with my, this is wrong now. Well, if they didn't see it beforehand, I guarantee you what's going to happen at the end of the project. They're going to say, well, we didn't cause that, and there's no way we can prove it either way. So it's very important and critical that when they notify you, please work with them as much as you can.
Yeah, that's exactly, I'm gonna just bend it. That's exactly what I wanted to reiterate to everyone, that when that happens, we will be contacting people, the homeowners, it'll be on the website, you'll have plenty of time to do that, and I recommend you do. And also, blasting is regulated, as John Cleese said, through the state fire marshal, not the city fire marshal. They are in control of all of that. So any questions would be directed to them and not our fire marshal at Franklin. Yes, sir.
Is the overhead power lines that you're talking about, are they major transmission lines, or are they stuff that could be subject to underground utilities? And if they are subject to underground utilities, is it cost prohibitive, or did MT show no interest?
They're not major transmission lines, they're just normal service lines. They can be underground if the city so chooses in the future, but with this project, they're going to stay overhead.
But is that also, is that possible? Is Middle Tennessee Electric the one that would have to foot the bill?
No.
They would charge
No,
us.
the Middle Tennessee Electric, if they only foot the bill for overhead lines, they'll foot the bill for pulling the lines themselves. If someone wants it underground, the entity that wants it underground pays for the underground infrastructure, which is many times more cost expensive than actually pulling the wire itself. Yes, sir.
All the land between Players Mill and Wilson Pike, is that all the city of Franklin, or are you just doing right-of-ways through there? Did you purchase all that land up with?
Yes.
So all that land's purchased, right? So.
Yes.
So do you now know if there's any future subdivisions that want any of that land?
Nothing I know of right now, but that doesn't mean anybody won't come in and sell their land. And
That's your light in Players Mill. You just get it right here at Market Street today. Our light went into Market Street and Clovercroft because of the subdivision up the street at Poplar Farms. So we're looking for a way to get that light at Players Mill, and that may be an out for you to do that. It's right there today, Stansville Electric just put it up. And that was part of it, because I signed a document, City of Franklin signed a document, you have to have a traffic light. So if you sold all that land, you own all that land, that's an option, you come back and get that light at Players Mill, they cannot get out of there.
At that time.
So it's just a thought.
You can't do it now, but at the time in the future, you're right.
Find some way to get it in there, and that would be one of the ways to do it, because you required that developer there of McEwen, I forget, it's Chris McCowan at Heritage Homes had to put that light in, and so
Yeah.
that would keep the cost up of it anyway. Yeah.
When will the surveys for the blasting evaluations begin?
That would, excuse me, it'll be determined whenever the contractor makes the determination if they're gonna blast or not, or whether they're gonna do home ramming, which is basically the big pick.
Do you think that's March of this year or a year?
I really, until we have the pre-construction meeting, I don't know that. I can't even give that answer. Yes, sir.
I'd like to go back to the egress, ingress from Players Mill and Round Table. I know you guys said that, McEwen's an east-west, thoroughfare through Wilson County, but it's also for Rutherford to and come from Wilson to
No,
Williamson.
we agree.
Yeah, but my question is that has there been traffic count studies for once this widens, how much more traffic is gonna be driven from 840
Over here.
to McEwen now all of a sudden?
No, we haven't done a study for the future. We can't, I mean, you can do studies for future, but what we found is when you're trying to do future studies, especially for something like that, without having a specific development to target, and you're saying, we're looking for this kind of growth, really all you can do is put a background growth factor on something. So there's really nothing to actually study per se. So you're really just putting a guess out there. So no, we haven't studied something like that. We know that there's a significant traffic impact out there, and we know it's a huge commuter route.
Because, the reasoning you guys said is that we're gonna have a much easier time getting onto McEwen because you're gonna have more lanes and turnouts. But I also suspect we're gonna see double the traffic on that road too.
Yeah, actually just related to that same comment, I'm sure it's no surprise to you all that coming over here tonight from Wilson Pike, the traffic going east was backed up all the way to the roundabout. And so with 4 lanes on one end, I see that's going to improve it, but I think it also going to potentially attract more traffic. But my question is anything going to happen at that intersection of McEwen and Wilson Pike? Because otherwise, it seems like we're going to continue to have this bottleneck with maybe just more, more coming into it. Is something going to happen with that intersection too?
We're actually making improvements of that with phase 5. So we're actually scheduled improvements with phase 5, the next phase of McEwen. Yes, that's the next phase.
I'm just trying to visualize in front of Mead of Avalon, the road really encroaches on the front of our entrance. Where, there's houses that are not that far from the current road to begin with. Where does the road, you're building on the north side, how far up to our entrance where our ponds are? And I've got, we got neighbors that are right, you can see, there's not much land between the current road and our front of our neighborhood. So where does the road, is it turning around, are you connecting it?
Yeah,
How's that gonna end?
There's a good bit of right of way down in that area now, and he's fixing to pull up those sheets, and you can kind of see, probably on the second section.
But it's not like by Margie's house. It's right there. And the ponds are right there. There's not much space right now.
There's, over here.
Question
Yeah, go ahead.
So is it starting at the roundabout and then going to Wilson Pike in that progression? Or is it starting Wilson Pike and coming back towards the roundabout in that
The
progression?
contractor, once we meet with them and they give us a schedule, we show what phases they're going to do and which direction they're going to work. We cannot tell them to go from point A to B. That's really up to them.
And realistically, you're going to have work going on the entire project for the entire time, because what ends up happening is we run into issues we didn't expect. So to keep progress moving, the contractor will say, well, we can't keep working here, but to keep our guys on the job and keep them working, we'll move over there and start working on that storm sewer. So they'll move and they'll jump around, and that's what people say, why are they jumping around all over the site? to keep the crews active so they don't pull off the job and go somewhere else. When,
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, just a quick question. So, and maybe I missed this, when are you meeting with the contractors to get all of these details that we are so eager for?
Well, we'll have what we call a pre-construction conference. I'm trying to set it up in February. If the contractor's ready, you know, we plan a meeting, we bring on all the utilities come in, we go through them one at a time to see what their plan of action is gonna be. And then the contractor will give us a schedule that shows for the 3 years how they're going to pursue to get this project done within that
So
time.
it'll be a complete project plan at that time for the 3 years?
Yes, now it's not carved in stone, because as we go,
I get it, we get it.
yeah, we do upgrade, and they may finish one operation faster, and so they can move to another one. So I mean, it's just it's a place to start to show how they're going to spend the 3-year time frame.
Right, but then that project though, that 3-year project plan will be made public to us? We will be in receipt of that once it's established?
There's some kind of
Yeah, we can.
high-level outline on the site.
I just, I misunderstood the reason for tonight. I did think there was gonna be a presentation, so forgive me. I thought we were gonna kind of go through the phases.
That's what we thought
Yep.
too.
But, and that's okay.
There's a
but-
lot of phasing. We have 11 retaining walls to build.
Oh, no, I'm not,
And-
I know this is a huge project. I
Right.
just thought tonight we had more of an understanding of really what the project would
Well,
like.
We have a suggested phasing that we have through our traffic control plans, but the contractor may come to us with a better phase and say, hey, we can build this twice as fast if we can go in this route instead of over here.
So will we have another one of these once we have those phases a little bit more established, so that we can do another Q&A?
I'll be glad to do that.
Okay, thanks, Bev.
We wanted to give a broad overview. As David said, we can't really tell you what the contractor's gonna do because we just awarded the bid, and we just now know it's Vulcan, and we've just gone through a holiday, so they're getting their information and they're meeting with the city, and all these meetings have to take place before they start the project. So once they have all that, and David's met with them, Jonathan, and they're all meeting together, we're gonna have more of a plan. And then I'm glad to hold another town hall, and actually we might just put it online if you'd like. By the way, let me just say that after tonight, you can go to Franklin's Facebook page, and this will be on there. And also, if you go to YouTube, it's YouTube/City of Franklin. And this whole meeting is on there, so you can go back and watch it or share it with others. Thank you, David. And these questions here that Creative Avalon submitted, they will be here for you all to go in and read as well. There are questions and answers that everyone can read.
And this, we have some phasing that is outlined, what we have proposed, which you see phase A is temporary traffic control through the whole part of the job. Initial coordination with the CSX, we're gonna do some bridge repair down on that bridge because there was a water line suspended from it that cracked the side of the bridge, so we're having to rebuild that. They're gonna put out, once they get it all clear, then they start the erosion control, which you'll see a lot of silt fence because we don't want any soil leaving the project site. Because we get cited by TDEC, even though we're a city, and we have our own stormwater inspectors, they have, they're pretty adamant about that. So you'll see a lot of silt fence to contain the sediment, clearing and grubbing, and they'll begin the grading work, moving the earthwork, and then move all the overhead utilities and close the road to the round table for realignment, close Players Mill for reconstruction. So that may be early on. Right now, we're proposing that. And then you've got, let's see, maintenance of access to all the properties for emergency vehicles, construct the frontage road south, begin construction of retaining walls. So that's part of the phasing also is building, part of the roadway. And begin construction with the storm drain system. I've got 2 miles of, I believe it's 18-inch pipe we have to lay out there because you've got so many hills and hollers. So that's the first thing you gotta do is lay the pipe, build box culverts, that before you begin your earthwork coming up. So we've got a lot of pipe work that's got to be done. And we reroute access to tracks 14, 15, 17 to a temporary access drive. That's up at, there's 5 houses up on the side of the hill that we're going to build a cul-de-sac that will give them access, permanent access to the roadway. But we're constructing a temporary road for them to have access to there. Began construction on the north side lanes, the westbound lanes, and there's some station numbers, and then construct settlement detention ponds down on one of the big ponds. And phase C, you can see installed the sanitary sewer, the gas main. The gas main that runs down through McEwen is I think it's a 7-inch or 8-inch right now that feeds all of Franklin. Atmos told us we're not to touch it, 8-inch? 8-inch. We don't touch it in the winter, you know. So it'll probably be summertime that we'll go out there and start that. But that feeds all the homes here in Franklin. Something happens to that, we're gonna be cold. So we'll, do our best to stay away from it. But we have to construct a new one. Let's see, but you can see at stage 3, finish the storm drains, Players Mill, finish construction retaining walls, complete grading, guardrail, pavement, striping, signage. Everything is restored and stabilized to grow grass. And then finally do all the paperwork and finish it up.
And this is proof of concept that we do during design to show that the project can be phased. This is one scenario that shows that the engineers and the project team have thought through the process and tell all the contractors who bid the project, yes, we can do this, we know it can be done. This is one option to do it. And that's where we talk about, we don't know until we've done the recon, what the contractor's going to choose to do, what works best for the way they work their crews and subcontractors.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have 2 questions. First, I want to say thank you for all your efforts trying to make it make sense for the rest of us who are learning the process, and for all your efforts bringing this to fruition, who have waited for a long time. So first question, is there any improvement for like internet connectivity as you're running all the utilities? Second question is, I may have misunderstood David. I think you said building a tunnel for Players Mill. Could you help me understand that just a little bit better? Because there's a lot of areas in Williamson County that have like 1-lane tunnels.
No, this.
Help me understand what we're gonna get to
Players
get out of
Mill.
the neighborhood.
Right, Players Mill, coming out of the neighborhood, you will go up on a roadway and tie straight in at grade. And there's gonna be a pedestrian tunnel on the old road. There'll be a pedestrian tunnel on the old road that will give the trail access underneath there, so.
It's essentially just.
Not cars.
No,
But it's the same thing that you would put basically a drainage culvert in. It's a large drainage culvert basically. It'll be decorative, it'll have lighting inside of it, but it's structural enough to allow Players Mill to sit on top of it.
Thank you.
Is there a similar structure in Williamson County that we can compare it to?
Yeah.
There's actually one underneath Carruthers Parkway.
Carruthers Parkway.
One out 96.
96 New
West.
Road, 96 East, up by Trinity.
Underneath the train tracks on Wilson Pike. You see
That's
it
what you're talking about?
Yeah, very similar. Yes, Fieldstone Farms, the Safe Routes to School project we did out there, very similar to that. Actually, it's the same thing we did out there, except it's actually gonna have more head clearance, because we're doing that now and it wasn't done 30 years ago. And to answer the question about the internet connectivity, that's really up to the utility providers. We don't do that. So it'd be great for them to do that while they're out there, and they're already putting the lines out there. It would make sense, but we don't have any control over them.
This guy back here.
Is there a incentive in the contract for the contractor to finish within 3 years and or penalties if they?
There are penalties, so those we would put those in automatically. I believe it's $2,500 a day that they don't get done on time. Unfortunately, because this includes federal funds, anytime we include federal or state funds, we are not allowed to do an incentive. But to be completely honest with you, every time we've tried an incentive, except for the most recent project we did it on, it has not worked. And I'll give you an example. When we did Franklin Road, and I won't name contractors, but when we did Franklin Road, we offered a 3-staged incentive process to allow them to get, initially by the contract, we offered them the same incentive per day that we offered disincentive up to $100,000. We offered, if they got it done 3 months, an additional lump sum payment of $150,000. If they got it done 6 months early, they got an additional lump sum payment of $250,000 for a total of $500,000, and it didn't move the needle. At the end of the day, they actually owed us about $480,000, almost $500,000. So it was $1 million the other way.
Yeah, two questions for you. One is, the old road, is it gonna stay within? It's just not gonna be a road?
Portions of it. So we'll use portions of it, and portions of it will be integrated into either the slopes of the new roadway or the new road itself.
And the second thing was, when they start tearing the ground up above it and all that sort of thing, all the heavy equipment and stuff, are they gonna make a road that they're gonna road back and forth on, or are they gonna be using McEwen?
They'll be using McEwen, and it's unfortunately they have to use, there's just not enough room.
I hope you all, there's a lot of holes, there's gonna be a lot of holes out there.
Oh, it's gonna, I tell everybody, when we do a major roadway project like this, just expect it to be like driving on the surface of the moon. If you ever want people to slow down on McEwen Drive, they're gonna slow down on McEwen Drive. This is gonna be the opportunity, you're gonna get some serious traffic control out here. And, yes, sir.
Well, you were showing a slide earlier, it looked like maybe that was the entrance we would need.
And I was gonna bring that up for David, so I had
I'm
to.
curious if we could see with what you have now, where the road is going to be in the future relative to where it is now.
Yes.
At that entrance.
And one of the things we can work on, I can get the CAD files, and I can actually put those where they line up on a Google Maps image. They won't line up perfectly just because of the way technology works, but I can actually put that where you'll have an aerial image in the background. You can turn those layers off and on. It gets a little cumbersome, but we can do that. Let's post that online.
Is there a regulation of start time and stop time each day?
There are, so our standard City of Franklin work hours are Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturday is 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. If they're doing something that doesn't create a lot of noise, if they're doing like handwork, things like that, fairly contained stuff, they can actually still start at 7. They can't work on Sundays, they can't work on city holidays, which is most major holidays, unless they have prior authorization by the city manager. And we can revoke that at any time. So if we do provide it to them and they either don't utilize it, or they make a mess, or they don't do what they said they were going to do, or they make noise when they said they weren't going to do it, or they just cause a general problem, we can revoke that at any time.
Well, I just thought it would be nice to sort of know, to anticipate when they're
Yes.
gonna start each day, so that.
7 to 6.
Yeah.
And you'll probably see them out there earlier than that, but they can't work earlier than that.
Yeah.
What's Saturday's hours again?
Saturday is 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., but if they're not making a lot of noise, they can start at 7.
Has the evaluation been done on Town Park Lane between Players Mill and Liberty Pike? There's some settling around Flanders and some rough pavement there, and I'm thinking when you're closing 6 to 8 months, that back entrance, all that traffic's gonna be going through Town Park.
Yeah, we can have our streets department have a look at that.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
I'll
Thank you.
make a note of that. And Louis, you had a question?
Yeah, it's been brought up on blasting for a second. I know you mentioned the state fire marshal makes these rules, and I'm wondering if in reference to this 300-foot, spot of where the blasting is there a give me buffer zone there? So if you're at 310 feet, they don't come out and inspect? Do we need to hire our own engineer to come look at our house? I probably have one of the closest houses to this blasting. There's going to be
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was trying to help him find something.
Is there a buffer zone in all houses to be inspected?
You mentioned
No, they
300
will only-
feet.
Yeah, it's actually based on the radius from the blasting zone. They will not inspect every house.
No, I understood that, but
I don't know exactly what the buffer zone is. I'd have to go back. It's been too long since I've worked with a project for blasting, but we will find that out.
And we don't know the extent there will be blasting.
Yes, we don't know that
To
yet.
be determined.
Yeah, need level on. Y'all know we put trees down before you don't talk about?
That will be one of the initial phases that they do. So typically with a roadway project, and this will be no different, is one of the things David mentioned was clearing and grubbing. Clearing and grubbing is basically they go through everything we purchase right away in easements. They go through and everything, they chop all that out. That's one of the very first things they do.
All right, take a few more questions and we're gonna wrap it up, I think.
Yeah, is there a way to disincent people, or whatever the word would be, from cutting through Town Park and Liberty?
People have no respect when they cut through McCabe's Mill. I mean,
have it monitored by our police.
yeah.
I think we'll step up the monitoring of those areas, especially when the road's closed and even when it's still open.
And to add to that, the best thing you can do, I mean, we can tell them all day long, but if police is gonna eventually be like, hey, we've been out there, we don't see anything, or they do see something, they're gonna move on. The best thing you can do when you see things, as a citizen, you guys call them.
Yeah.
Because they'll respond quicker to you than they will another city staffer.
You can totally tell when it happens when the road, when McKean
Yeah.
closes down, they cut through, and they just have nobody.
But I promise you, you will get a much quicker and better response than we will.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing, that especially right there at like the lower side of Players Mill as it turns onto whatever that is as it goes over the roundabout. I've lived there 4 years, I don't know that street. But yeah, they come flying down there at 60, especially when you see it like an accident on McEwen. And so I've talked with Franklin PD that I've seen patrolling over by Seward Hall, and
Call
so
them. If you have any problems, welcome to call me, it's my job. And I'm glad to take your call and help you out with that and talk to our police force as well. All right, we're gonna take a few more quick questions.
he's got something.
Here's-
Go ahead. David, go ahead.
Here's the layout at,
Where are we?
This is Delta Boulevard, Delta Drive.
Delta Boulevard and McEwen. You can see the present right-of-way,
It's proposed and present.
yeah, is right here. So we're not really affecting that drive very much, as you can see. And down on this end, all this is an existing, so.
Say that one more time, I'm sorry. So what we're looking at, the red line is the existing,
Yeah, this is the proposed.
oh, the red is proposed, okay.
And the other one's existing.
The dotted one?
This is one.
You're good.
Is it on now?
You just turned it off.
Or,
It's back on now.
Okay.
try to.
Testing, 1, 1.
Nope.
Oh,
Here. Don't we have it?
getting something.
All right, let's see. Gotta check out. We can talk loud. Yes.
Is that a concrete median, as we're looking at Delta to the right?
No.
Over there.
No, that's just.
That is not.
That's right.
Yeah, what you're looking at now is called the existing plan. So you're looking at the existing plan with the right-of-way laid over top of it. So it just shows where the existing right-of-way is. We can go to the corresponding sheet called proposed layout, which shows what the actual final plans look like, or the final roadway looks like. It just doesn't show what the right-of-way impacts are. Again, that's why I said it's kind of hard to see really what it looks like on a roadway set of plans.
But there is not a turning lane in front of Mead of Avalon?
Yes, there is.
There
Yeah,
is,
there is.
okay. I thought you said it stopped at as you're coming down the hill, so I
Well,
didn't.
the median itself does, but it turns into a 5-lane section.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
All right, we have one or two more questions.
Can you just show us more?
Yeah, so this is actually 5 lanes wide here, and see the median stops here.
The median stops there, I got you.
I'm just trying to understand how much further north you're going with the roadway.
Into the
from what it
meat.
is now, it's not going further north.
No, it's, no.
It is some, but not a whole lot. What really goes further north into the Meads, what's getting the landscaping ultimately, what everybody's interested in is what's getting the trees and the landscaping. It's the easements and the earthwork to tie it back in. So the road, so where the road's fairly sharp, there's a sharp curve right there, sharp-ish, kind of sharp-ish, I'll say sharp-ish. We're flattening out that curve, and to tie the roadway slopes back in, the slopes themselves are getting into that landscaping. That's what's happening. It's not the roadway that's getting into it, it's the slopes that support the roadway.
And Mill Crofton has a 8-inch water line easement that goes up through there too.
Yes.
Can we see this drawing for the Players Mill entrance?
Sure.
We've got big voices. All right. David's pretty well wrapped up. All right, we'll keep us pretty well wrapped up with this. Are you pulling up yourself?
He's pulling up.
At Players Mill, where it comes out and goes up, McEwen, how high is that going?
Yeah, this goes down now.
It's going to be about roughly 15 to 20 foot of field.
15 feet up?
But it will meet the road is going to be up.
When you go back into the subdivision, there's a road that turns to the right.
I'm gonna point that
Yeah,
out.
the earthwork, we will start right about here and then go toward the roadway.
This is Players Mill coming out onto
Right.
McEwen.
So I live on Broadmoor right there. My backyard faces McEwen. I'm just curious, what am I gonna be looking at when I look out back? A retaining wall?
Retaining wall.
MSC wall, a stabilized earth wall that's gonna go all up through here.
No, I'm talking about on McEwen. So I'm 3 houses down facing McEwen, right? So my backyard.
At that point.
That's 20 feet up?
Yeah, there's just be a slope.
The closest thing to your house is gonna be the multimodal trail.
Correct.
Which is the
The
current rate.
sidewalk and the trail systems.
But the road is gonna be, I'll be looking at a road 20 feet up with streetlights.
Well, where your house level is, it'll basically be even with your house, but your backyard, if you were going on the bottom of your backyard, it'd be about 20 feet up.
And when you look out, you'll have a buffer between you and the road. It will be the multimodal trail and the sidewalk.
Was that a tie-in to the multimodal trail? Was that a tie-in to the multimodal trail from Players Mill on the right side of it, on the plans?
I believe it is. I think there is a connection to that side.
I'll check that.
It looked like it. I
believe there is a tie-in to y'all's sidewalk that comes down through that area.
Here's what we call the roadway profile for Players Mill.
Okay, we're gonna wrap this up in about 5 minutes or less.
And this is exaggerated vertically, so you've got like basically 50 feet horizontal, 5 feet vertical, so it makes it look worse than what it is, but it's still very much different. So what you're seeing, the red line is labeled existing ground, and this is going back up to, back up Players Mill into the subdivision, and roughly where we stop at Broadmoor is right here. And I know I'm in the way, I'll get out of the way in a second. Where you come down now to McEwen is down here. So McEwen is basically right here. See where it comes, there's a ditch on the north side of McEwen. Existing McEwen sits right here. So you come down Players Mill now, you come up to here, this is where the proposed pedestrian tunnel is. The new road will come up here, and McEwen sits over here now.
It's hard to imagine, but it will all work out, and it will not be like
No, it,
you think it's gonna be way up there. It's gonna work out because of the terrain. All right, I think we're gonna wrap this up unless you're.
I can picture people talking about what I can't think of. I haven't seen it in years, so you had a picture of that. Video that you were driving from Cool Springs Circle on the roadway, and you drove all the way to Wilson Pike and showed you what the road was gonna look like. Is that video still available?
I haven't seen that, so I don't know.
All right,
Maybe after the meeting, if he could show me a section of the road. And I didn't want to take everybody's time, just where I have a little house over there. I just want to
sure, you can come on up and we'll show
Okay,
that.
thank you.